Hey YouTube, it's your girl Dr. J, and I told you guys that I would come on and do a video whenever I was putting together new science units. So we are starting a new 5-week science unit, and I'm going to go through what we're going to be doing. This science unit is actually going to be on matter. So I'm going to take you guys through the things that I have planned. I'll talk a little bit about why I made those choices and how we're putting it all together. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is what I'm using for my spine. And for what I'm using for my spine and my scope and sequence is Holt. This is Holt Science and Technology, Interactions with Matter. And first we're going to actually use the Introduction to Matter. These are middle school textbooks. I really like them. I get them used off of Amazon. So each one's cost me about $4. You know, it's like a penny used, and then you got to pay $4 or $3.99 for shipping. I actually like them. I really love the scope and sequence. I think they're very well done. I like that they point out, key vocabulary words, and the vocabulary words that they choose make sense. One of the things that I really love about these books is that they integrate the science with the math. And for my kids, for my household, science and math go together. I don't separate them. So, for instance, I talk a lot about my kids doing science at the middle school level. Well, the only way that I really know that to be true is that they also do the math that goes with the science at the middle school level. And so, for us, if you can't do the math, you can't do the science, because they're just completely intertwined. And so that's why I like using books that are at the middle school level, because they help my twins work at their level, because they can understand the science, the math at that level. And then with my oldest, with Speedster, who's in 4th grade, since he's a little bit more advanced, I can always bring in things that are going to be at a little bit deeper level for him. So I really like that they have things like having the math focus section here, so that you are truly integrating those together and they're understanding that it's a whole package. I also like the chapter review. The chapter review I actually do with the twins. I'll do it orally, but with Speedster, I'll actually print this out and give it to him, and he'll go through and do the chapter review. And then I also really like that they have a skill test a standardized test preparation. I know a lot of homeschoolers, they're not really into testing. We do, just because I don't want my kids to get introduced to testing like when they're taking the SAT or ACT. And so in order for them to not have test anxiety for the high stakes testing, we just kind of integrate that into our day, and it's not a big deal for them. I really like the way that they do the test prep, because they have a reading section where you read about the information that you learned in the chapter, answer those questions. They have an interpreting graphic section, which is great for being able to read scientific information. And then they also have a math section to see if you can do the math that goes with the science. And so these books we're going to be using as our spine. Now, for those of you who know my channel, you know my philosophy. We never ever use just one source for information. So whenever we do the definitions and vocabulary and kind of the major things from those sections, we're going to also be using, this one is the DK Smithsonian Knowledge Science Encyclopedia. And I already have the section on matter tagged for us, so that we'll be able to use this book to kind of verify some of the definitions that we come across, as well as compare and contrast. This one is the Kingfisher Science Encyclopedia. And again, I tagged our section that we're going to be focusing on, again, states of matter and types of matter. And in the Firefly Science Encyclopedia, again, we have our matter section already set aside for us and ready to go. And one of the things that's interesting is you can see how the section on matter changed depending on what book I was using. And so you can kind of see how different people will categorize things in different areas, and where they'll put things in different areas. So I really Love that. And then also How to Help Your Kids with Science, that book. And again, we have Matter already sectioned out, so we'll do some of the major work in this as well, and check our definitions and see how our concepts and see how we'll compare and contrast the way different books talk about the different things. Where is there agreement? Where is there disagreement or discrepancy? And then Usborne Science Encyclopedia. Again, we have our Matter section all set out and ready to go. What my kids are going to be doing, it's interactive. It's basically interactive notebooks, but they're not going to be in the notebooks or anything like that. They're actually going to be in binders, and they'll be putting their information onto just basically paper, and we'll 3-hole punch it and put it in binders because they each have science binders. And the reason for that is in our science binders, the different I just have different tabs, and the tabs are biology, earth science, anatomy, physical science, space science, robotics, life science, rockets, chemistry. And so the reason why I do that is because we go back and forth between different areas of science. Because for middle school science, I believe it should be an exploration of the various areas of science. And then when they get to the high school level, they can decide what sciences they want to focus on for those 4 years or however many years they're going to be doing high school level science. They'll be able to make a really informed decision about what they want to focus on if we hit a lot of different areas of science at that middle school level, where it's not that babyish elementary school level where they're not really getting that good solid foundation, but it's also not going to be overwhelming for them. So I think middle school is a great balance, and it's a great place to kind of survey all the areas of science. So that's what we're going to be doing, and to kind of keep track of everything that we're doing, we have the science dictionary. And then I just have scope and sequences in each of those areas of science, and I check them off as we hit them, so that if we're into you guys know I do 4 years of middle school. So I do 4 years of elementary, 4 years of middle, 4 years of high. And so I know that, okay, Speedster, as he gets closer to being finished with his middle school, what we're considering for middle school for him, I can look through that binder and say, okay, he really hasn't done a whole lot in chemistry, so let me hit that with him. Or, oh, he hasn't done a lot in biology or earth science, so let me hit that with him. So that's a great way for me to kind of see what areas we're exploring. And then what they're going to have in their binders, these are just some pages for their interactive notebook or binder book or whatever you want to call it. These are some things that a great way for them to take notes and different things like that. I did not create these. I got these off of Teachers Pay Teachers. I have 2 really big interactive science bundles that I got off of Teachers Pay Teachers. One is like 200 pages. The other one is like 400 pages. And they have kind of the major areas of science. So I always go to those documents first to see what I have that's already made, so I'm not spending a whole lot of time reinventing the wheel. Another thing that's going to go in their book is this. This is just vocabulary, and most kids will be able to do these and write these up themselves. I just kind of did these real quick just because my kids have dysgraphia, and so sometimes a lot of writing is an issue, but I wanted to make like little flashcards for them to be able to have fun and test each other with for the vocabulary. So like this one is volume. And another thing that I did was, I told you guys science is very important for me to link science with math. So in addition to the definition for volume, we also have the formula. So they have to not only know the definition, but be able to tell me what the formula is for things that have formula, like density and volume and different things like that. And then the ones that don't have a formula, they would just need to know the definition. And we'll have these little note cards for each chapter, the basic vocabulary for each chapter. In order to show the linkages, I have Faster Fox's space book, and what I did was marked the page on dark matter, because since we're doing matter, my kids also do a lot of astronomy and space science, so that's a way to link kind of what we're doing with some other areas of science as well. So as we really get into the nitty gritty of matter, we can also have a discussion and talk about how does our understanding of matter relate to the astronomy or astrophysics concept of dark matter and also dark energy. And another link that we're going to be doing, this is a advanced chemistry. It's a way to put together molecules, and a lot of time when you're doing matter, you're going to be talking about things like liquids and stuff like that. So this is a fun little kit. I don't want to dump everything out, but this is a little kit. I also got this off of Amazon, and it lets them know how to put together various chemical bonds and stuff like that. We'll be doing a lot with hydrogen and water and that sort of stuff. So I'll give them little challenges to make the various bonds, and as they make the chemical bonds for like water and hydrogen and things like that, we'll talk about when is it a solid, when is it a liquid, when is it a gas. And that's another way that we're linking things with astrophysics and space science, because for us here on Earth, hydrogen is a gas, but if you get to some of the planets like Saturn and stuff like that, then hydrogen is actually in liquid form. So we'll talk about those basic differences and stuff. Kind of a fun book we're going to be using. This is Max Axiom, their graphic library. This one is on chemical reactions, because that's one of the things we're going to be talking about in this unit. And I also have Horrible Science. And this is their one on matter. This is a kids magazine. I keep these in the plastic until we use it, because each one comes with a little fun little knick-knack souvenir, little toy or whatever. But these are actually kind of hard to get in the United States, because this series is based out of the UK. And so I actually have to special order these. So I just ordered the entire series, and I just go through and dig through my box and see what fits with the science that we're going to be doing. Another thing that I have my kids put into their binders are, we do little assessments from, this one is physical science, and it has a section on matter, like the basic states of matter, gases and that sort of stuff. These are just little quizzes that we'll print out, and I'll have them put them in their interactive notebooks. And so this one covered grades 4 through 6, and this is a general science one. It also covers matter, like it goes over states of matter, the fourth state of matter, physical properties of matter, those sort of things. I just do copies of these and give them these to fill out and put into their books to just give good reminders. And this one is at the 5th through 8th grade level. And I do these because I read a book, it's called Make It Stick, and it's all about studying and how do you make concepts stick long term. And one of the things that they talked about was having to recall what you learned actually solidifies the learning and puts it into your long-term memory. And so that's where testing comes in. That's where tests make sense, and that's why you should be testing, to solidify the learning, to help them practice recalling information, digging back and going, okay, I know I got that definition, but when you have to recall it and write it out or say it orally, it really helps to solidify the things that you learn. And so that's the way that I use tests and assessments. So my kids don't get grades. They get grades when they take outside classes, or I get feedback from their teachers, but I don't give grades to my kids. But I do use assessments so that I can see what they're recalling and what they're remembering, so they can practice recalling information and practice figuring out what's important, what makes sense, and also so that we have something to show what they're doing. And that's particularly important because my kids work above their grade level in a lot of the work that they're doing, and a lot of times, especially if you're going to do early college at all, or even some various programs, or sometimes my kids might be just a little bit under the age to be able to go into a program. But when I can go and show them, well, this is the work that they've done, people generally don't have a problem with letting them into a program or giving them an opportunity to take a class that maybe is a little bit above their age range or a little bit above their grade, because they know that they've done that preliminary work, because I had something that I could show people that was real. So that's another reason why we do these sort of things. And for the fun stuff, this module was actually really easy for me to put together because I already had I had bought a kit. And so this kit, it is on investigating matter, and it is from Science in a Nutshell. And this it comes with the teacher's guide, and I love the teacher's guide because it has it has little teaching tips, the concepts that you're going to be doing, and that's really great because we're not going to be doing the experiments exactly in the order that they cover things in the chapters of the textbook. And so we'll be able to say, oh, do you remember when we did that experiment on X, Y, and Z? That's what this definition is talking about. Or as we start to do an experiment, I could say, well, you remember last week when we talked about X, Y, Z? Well, here is where we're going to actually see it take place. So we'll be going back and forth in some of these, and that's going to be fine. I also like, this has really good student pages. And again, I just print these out and put them in their binders, and they fill out the pages. If it's going to require a lot of writing, then the twins, they will just dictate to me and I will write it for them. But Speedster actually likes to write his own. Even though he's dysgraphic, he really likes writing. And so what we have is actually taking some of this out because we've started the liquid one. But this one is gases. Okay. And this one is liquids. This is the one that we've been working in. So that's why some stuff is out and some stuff is used. We have physical and chemical changes. And we have solids. And I love Science in a Nutshell. They don't have a lot of topics. They're kind of limited in their topics. They have some for earth science, some for the human body. But I really loved their one on matter because these are great. I don't have to think at all, really, guys. I mean, all I have to do is pull out. So this one on physical and chemical changes. All I have, everything you need for the experiment is right in here. So it comes with all the materials, everything's already there. So measuring cups, all that sort of stuff. And the way that the units are written, it's nice because the kids actually can just go through and read what each station is supposed to be about, or what each concept they're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to see if I can show you guys real quickly. Okay, so here's the activity, and so this one is it's called the ebb and flow, and it is written in a large font, which is important for kids. And it tells them the method. It tells the method: work alone or with a partner. Put on your safety goggles. Shake the bottle of liquid flowing solution to mix the contents. Pour the solution into the small vial. Add 1 drop of food coloring to make the flow pattern even easier to see. Slowly add warm water to fill the vial to the brim. 3. Snap the cap on the vial. Turn the vial upside down and shake it gently to mix the contents. Set it on a flat surface. Closely observe the mixture in the vial. What patterns do you see? Describe your observations in the journal. Then 5. Hold the bottom of the vial in one hand. Hold the top of the vial in your other hand. Slowly tip the vial forward and backwards to swirl the contents. Describe any flow pattern. So it is very easy, step by step. It tells them exactly what they have to do. And that's great because they actually can do each of the experiments themselves and keep their own journals for themselves. So it's a great way for them to do some science independently and different things like that. So that's where most of our experiments and everything are going to come through. Each of these bags, so like this one is for gases. Each one has 8 to 12 experiments, and so what we generally do is we'll do one area a week. So we did liquids, and we have a couple more experiments to do with liquids, and then we'll go to solids, and then we'll spend a week or so on solids. We'll spend a week or so on gases, and then we'll spend a week and a day or whatever on chemical reactions. And by the time we finish all of the experiments, we'll have finished the 2 books, and we'll have our interactive notebook pages all in there. Then that's when they'll do all their assessments and all that kind of stuff. So that's our module on matter. I hope this helps. I will definitely let you guys know when I get the next module together. I'm not really sure where we're going next, actually. I got, like 4 weeks to really think about it. We are, may do some on the human body or something like that. I'm not quite sure, because the kids are also taking an outside class right now on doing some astronomy and some engineering. So I may kind of see where they go with these outside classes and see if we're going to continue with some of the stuff that they're doing in astronomy, or if we're going to go into a whole different section. I know they've been talking a little bit about the human body and stuff like that, so we may go there. But I'll definitely let you guys know when I make another kit. I get a lot of questions about how we're doing our biome study. We're actually still doing it, but the biome study, it was really hard to track it for you guys because it is a overarching topic. So a lot of things fit into our biome study. And so it's not something that we just kind of do and complete. We go back and forth with that all the time. We're always doing something in our biome study. Speedster is also going to be taking a class. It actually starts next week. He's taking an online class specifically on biomes. And so he'll be doing a lot of additional work that the twins won't be doing because he's taking an outside class on biomes as well. And he's also doing a lot of independent study on biomes because he's going to be participating in a geography bee in a couple weeks. And it goes in well with geography. He's always doing geography. So that's something that, it's always kind of mixed in there. So our biome study is kind of overarching. We'll be doing that for years and years and years because it's so dense and it has so many different aspects to it. But I will definitely show their binders for you guys as they add more things to it and as we do different things. So because we have a STEM-based homeschool, science and engineering and math, they're kind of these topics that they feel kind of fluid because we are always doing multiple areas. Like I said, even though we're going to be doing some intensive work on matter, the kids, Speedster also is going to be doing some science work in biomes. All 3 kids are also doing a class, their class is an entire day. So they're, out at this class from 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, and they're working on, just 2, a science topic and an engineering topic, and they follow that topic through 4 or 5 weeks. So it's just, it's such an integrated part of what we do that it's hard for me to piecemeal things out and show you just little snippets. So I like when I can show you guys just one unit that we're going to be working on. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments box below. I hope this helps. Again, this is Dr. J, and I'm out. Bye-bye.